Welcome to the Good Karma Sportfishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. Okay, so today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about developing your own style, okay? Now, everybody has their own style. Every different charter boat has their own style. Every different recreational guy has their own style. And that's okay. Everybody's different. Your guests are different. And for me, that's what's the most important thing, okay? Now, I want my guests to have a great time. And probably about 80% of my clients, the 90%, the repeat people that come back every year, love to fight fish, okay? They don't like to electric reel fish, okay? They hate it. They don't like dragging fish in on planers. They hate it because they don't get to pick up the rod and pump the rod and fight the fish. Now, those are my regular clients, okay? They're there to catch big fish. They could care less about catching numerous amounts of small fish. And then when I get calls from a potential new client, and let's say, for example, they call me up and they say, we just want to go sail fishing, and that's what we want to do. So my response is, this is what I can do as far as sail fishing, okay? Now, if I can't do what they want, or if they... I want to make sure that that client's the right fit for my charter, in other words. So there's so many different boats to choose from down here and so many different styles of fishing. So if you're looking to catch numerous amounts of small fish, there's a charter for that, okay? My charter style is focusing on large fish. And when I do go yellowtail snapper fishing or on the Patrice, I'm looking for larger fish, okay? So I'm looking for, for example, yellowtail snappers, okay? I'm looking for yellowtail snappers that are 18 inches and over on every charter, okay? So I'm not looking for 12 to 14-inch yellowtails or 16. I'm looking for 18-inch and over yellowtails, quality fish that put up a really hard fight and are just a lot of fun to catch. Because when I'm focused on those fish in those areas, those aggregate areas, I'm going to catch mutton snappers and black groupers mixed in. So, but that's my style. Everybody's different. So that's what my clients have grown to expect over the years, and that's what I provide them with, that type of charter. So let's get back to the new client that calls me. We have a discussion about what they want to do, because a lot of people have fished down here before and have had some experiences that they don't want to go through again. So, meaning that I have clients that call me and say, we don't want to troll all day because they had a bad experience. Or we don't want to live bait all day and kite fish all day because they've had a bad experience. So, the last thing I want to do is take somebody out there and do a type of fishing that they don't want to do. Now, hindsight is that type of fishing that they don't want to do might be the only thing that's working that day. So I have to tell them that is like, for example, if a guy doesn't want to troll and I tell him this is why we need to troll because the fish are chasing flying fish and they want a fast moving bait today. But if he still doesn't want to do it, then okay. So I work with something else that I can do to try to catch fish. We focus on other fish species, in other words. So, we'll go bottom fishing. We'll still stick with the live bait fishing if he doesn't want to troll. Because some people hate the troll and some people love the live bait fish. So everybody's different. And I like to work around the styles because, to be honest with you guys, I like to do it all. So I just have to adjust and do that for the client. So that's their preferred style may crush it that day or their preferred style won't. But I'm going to make sure I let them know that as my job as a captain to let them know that style may not work today, and then give them a reason, okay? And then we may try their style for a while, and then what'll happen is if their fish aren't working, then I'll throw out a couple different ideas that might work to catch some fish, and they'll either say, yes, we want to do it, or they'll say, no, we'd rather just stick with this. So everybody's different, in other words. Believe it or not, I have clients that call me and say, hey, we just want to go catch some fish. Okay, they're there for the experience. They could care less about catching a big sailfish, care less about catching a wahoo. They just want to go out and have some fun, catch some nice fish, get some dinner. That's a great half day. So the guy that calls me and wants to catch a marlin on a half day, I'm like, and sets up the demands. I get all these crazy, I used to, I don't get them as much as I used to, but I'll get all these crazy demands sometimes. I want to catch a marlin on a half day. So, or I want to catch 4 wahoo on a half day because this happened to me down in Marathon when I fished 20 years ago on this boat. So anyways, it's fishing in the end. I could go out there and catch 6 wahoo in an hour and be done. It's happened several times. But I'd say, yeah, we can do that on a half day, but it's wahoo fishing. We may get 6 bites. We may catch them all, or we may not catch any, or we might catch 1. So it's totally up to you. If you want to, there's a difference between sport fishing and meat fishing, or finding a balance. A balance is good, okay? A balance is good. And just being open to catching. Just being open. So I kind of went off on a rant there. So I kind of like to get a good feel for the client before I take them on as a client, because I want to make sure that I'm the right fit for them. If I don't feel I'm the right fit for them, then I'm like, yeah, I may not be the right fit, because of our personalities might not work out so well. And I may not be able to do what they want as a captain. So there's plenty of other captains. Another thing is I used to have a policy in place where I wouldn't take locals fishing or people from South Florida fishing that had boats. Because I just had some bad experiences in my earlier days with people that consistently wanted to challenge how I did things. And they tried to take over the charter, okay? So it was just really bizarre. And part of that was me being just too nice, okay? Just too nice. So I've just had so what I did was I decided to cut out those people. If they had a boat, if they were another captain somewhere else, I just didn't take them. Because the experiences was bad, because usually instead of like coming on board and being open to learn something, they got on board and were challenging why I was doing something, because this is how they did it on their boat, or this is how their neighbor did it, or this is how this captain does it. So I just kind of got sick of it, of constantly being challenged, and I didn't like the confrontation on the boat, because what would happen is that I needed to catch fish, and it would throw me off my mojo. Because I knew the guy was upset because I wasn't fishing how he thought I. And when you're trying to like get a boat dialed in, get rods set, and you have somebody like in your ear challenging you, that's not a good thing for any captain or anybody that has their own boat. So I encourage people, if you get on another guy's boat, don't challenge what he's doing. Just let him go through with stuff. And because if you're setting in a sea that's like 2 to 4, it can be challenging, okay? You want to make sure the lines get set properly, where there's no tangles. And when you're in like somebody's ear, man, you're messing with them. And he may not be able to concentrate on what he needs to get done and get done quickly. So just keep that in mind. That's just a little bit of information. So at least that's just for me. That's how I act. I'm like, So it's just best not to not challenge. You want your captain 100% dialed in, especially when he's setting lines in a sea that's not so great. So it's best just to let him do the job, let him get things set, stay out of the way a little bit, just because he's going to be a little frustrated. I know sometimes I get a little frustrated when the seas are kicked up and I'm trying to figure things out. But once I get things figured out, because every day is different out there, then I ease into it, and then I'll start welcoming the questions and we get into it a little bit. But that's just how I roll. Now I kind of have to include this in my, I have a little spiel that I do when I go out into the ocean with new clients. I just say, hey, I'm all about teaching and I'm all about learning. And if you're very patient with me, I'm going to do everything I can to show you, teach you. Okay. And because I want you to take something out of it aside now, for those that want to learn. And when I get people on the phone now, these are mostly the people that call me now to book a trip. They listen to the podcast and they want to learn. They want to learn some more. They want to see what I do, which is great, and I don't mind it. I like to teach people. I don't care if they're a captain, if they own their own boat somewhere. I don't care if they're a local now, because I'm like, most of the people now that call and they email say, hey, we really want to go fishing with you because we want to learn. And they're not so much concerned about the catching fish, which is kind of like a shocker for me. They just want to see how I do it, which is great. And I'm all about that. I want to teach you. All right, one last thing is GPS spots are not included, okay? So I'm going to wrap things up here. So this podcast was a little new for me, but I felt like I needed to share some of this stuff with you guys because I do get a lot of questions about my style. So I just wanted to share it and give you some insight on my thought process. And I know that there's a lot of captains out there like me that, you know, it's not shared, but they talk about it with their clients. They just don't share it. So those are really great captains to book with. And I'm trying to think what else here. All right, so I'd love to hear from you guys, and I love to get the feedback from my regular listeners. It's cool, and new listeners. And, oh, one side note, so Good Karma will be done here within the next couple days, so make sure you follow me on Instagram and check out my website for before and after pictures of the new interior on Good Karma. It looks gorgeous, so I can't wait for my clients to see it, and it's just really nice. And I'm going to share who did the work and my experience as well. So for any guys that have boats that are looking for restoration projects, new decks, fiberglass work, acrylic paneling, all sorts of stuff that's just hot right now in the industry as far as getting your boats souped up and pimped out. So that's all I got today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.